Yeah.
What if everything you had built and everything that you loved was tested all at once, and the only way through was just to keep showing up? Welcome to What's Next with yours truly, Trina Finch, and today's episode is about resilience, humility, and gratitude. My guest today is entrepreneur and co-founder of T2 Consultants, Todd Youngblood. Todd, thank you for having me today.
Yeah, thanks for being here. This is great. I'm looking forward to it.
Now, y'all just need to know, Todd has a big story. And so we here at LKN Connect have divided it into sections. And so I've been tasked to do what I do best, which is tell people's story. So, Todd.
Yeah, this is great.
Take me back to the beginning. T2 stands for Todd and Tara.
That's
and
right.
You guys met at college. Tell me about that.
We did, yeah. We met first day of college. We were both engineering students. Small liberal arts school in St. Louis. I made it 3 days. No idea what I wanted to do, but I knew it wasn't math with letters.
Yes.
And so after a little bit of soul searching, I figured out I do like math, but it's math with numbers.
With numbers.
Yes. So we stayed connected, started dating freshman year, got married right out of college. But yeah, she's from Canada.
Okay.
I was from New York, and my family was living in New York at the time. So
Okay.
just met in a little Christian school in the bluffs of the Mississippi River.
Oh my goodness, I love that. And you started your first business in 2000?
That's right. Yeah, it was kind of a journey of what could Tara do and stay at home. We had one young son and another son on the way, and so she didn't want to go back to work and doing a traditional job. So we started a consulting company and figuring out how could we help other businesses wherever they were at the time bring products to market. So we started working in 2000, we incorporated towards the end of the year in 2000, and 2001 signed on our first couple of clients, and we were off to the races.
And that was it. Yeah. And you guys had immediate success. Is that correct?
We did. Kind of like I counsel young entrepreneurs. Never go from something to nothing and try to build it into something. It's just harder. Entrepreneurship or creating your own income takes a lot of time and grit, and usually more time and more money than you expect. So we were thankful that we built into something before we had to depend on it to eat. I had a full-time job in sales and product management for a big company. And so Tara was able to kind of do research during the day in between naps and kid stuff. And then I would communicate with our clients at night. And so we kind of shared roles and responsibilities, and we worked kind of double time until it was at a point where we could make it a full-time gig.
Yeah, so y'all built this thing together.
We did. Yeah, the whole time. It was pretty fun. She was, she would do the research, and this is, again, back in 2000, 2001, online doing research during the day about product categories and market research, and then I would basically, in summary form, communicate back to the client at the end of each day.
So you guys were just charging ahead, and once you were able to go and just go at that full time, you did have great success.
We did, yeah, we did.
And you said something to me that you guys were more innocent. So what did you believe then that you no longer believe now? Tell me about that.
I think part of it is we've always believed in the amateur's advantage, right? When you go into a new market, you do it with, the glass is always full mentality, and you're like, I can just look how easy it is, all the fish in the barrel. We're going to go, go take out all the fish, and they're all ours to grab. We just need to go grab them. And I think as you learn to become more seasoned, or you have more experiences, you've had more failures or challenges, it gets harder. And then so you look at different opportunities in a different lens. Like back in the day, we felt totally invincible. We can go do anything, and look how easy this is, and look at all the value we can create in the market. And although that was true in a lot of ways, we didn't have the failures yet or the struggles to figure out, like, wow, why is this hard for so many other people?
Because it's just coming so easy.
It felt easy, yeah.
So that success kind of made you feel like you could outwork almost anything.
Yeah, we worked hard, and we still work really hard at our business, but we are connecting dots that other people weren't connecting, or were hard to connect for people. And, at the time we were helping manufacturers figure out what new products they could make and how to sell those into the US market. And so was it a different channel of trade, a different type of product? And so we just had a really good balance. Tara, with her background in physics, just always can sort of see markets moving and seeing product changes and just sort of see things in terms of math. And I'm with the operator, I'm the get it done guy. And so combining what she saw as the future state, and I could help communicate that in practical terms to turn it into reality for a manufacturer, was a really great balance of skills and activities.
It was just, y'all were the team.
Yeah, yeah.
T2. So, you know, barreling right along, and then in 2006, you guys, you know, lost a child, which is insurmountable for some parents. How did you and Tara keep choosing each other while you still had businesses and other children that were depending on you?
You know, both of us have a lot of grit. And so we moved our business here in 2003, bought a house in Mooresville in late 2002, early 2003, had employees. The company was formalizing and doing a lot more things. We set up another company in China. So at the time, and when that loss kind of struck, we were managing 2 or 3 different companies and employees. You know, I'd like to think it was a conscious choice to stick together and work it through, but we're not quitters. Maybe we're kind of too dumb to fail in that respect. So we dug in. I definitely kind of deferred mourning until it was like, I can't deal with it now. I put it in a box. And so it was definitely tough on us personally in our interpersonal relationship, as she was working through the mourning of, you know, like motherhood as she knew it changed. And, you know, for me, I'm like, well, I have to go operate this business. Like, we'll deal with this later. And definitely a lot of unaddressed sort of friction and things in the relationship. But we worked really hard to show up for each other. We knew, you know, inside we were good people and we wanted to do right by others, each other and our family. And we, you know, it was one foot in front of the other. We didn't have all the answers, and we still don't have all the answers. But, you know, when you go through a loss like that, and it's a reset on everything you believe about the world, you just have to kind of dig deep. You know, there's a lot of time and faith to try to figure out, you know, how does faith meet us where we are and be a supportive, or at least a, you know, a strong foundation, and you know, just kind of keep working through it. We're blessed that, you know, 2 years later we had another child, so that was definitely our rainbow child that helped kind of heal a lot of the pain in the family, and the other 3 boys got to have another younger brother again. But yeah, it was a crazy journey. It was, you know, and for anyone that's going through loss, we have some friends now, and actually some business partners in another business that are dealing with a child that just they lost. And you know, when you interact with someone that's gone through that experience, it does bring you right back. But you know, 20 years later, yes, you can heal, you can get through it, but it takes perseverance and positive outlook, and, you know,
Just
and being patient.
putting one foot in front of the other.
Yeah, just moving forward.
Then you get through this healing, you get that momentum continuing, and then 2013 happened, and it was a 6-month storm. Okay, let me see if I can get this right. You had massive canceled orders, IRS audit, patent lawsuit, international fraud, product liability claim. And did I leave anything out?
No,
all
that
of
was,
this
that was
happened.
probably about it. Yeah. All within 6 months. Yeah.
All within 6 months.
Yeah, and you know, it's interesting for me, I think, because with that loss in 2006, I kind of put a lot of things in a box. And so here I'm starting grieving on company loss and the personal loss of like who I am as a dad. And I was traveling back and forth to China every other month, and I was gone a ton. And was you know, how am I showing up for my family, and all these little things that creep in. You know, there's still such a human side on every person, of course, but as entrepreneurs, you tend to kind of cloak it with, well, this is my business identity, and then you deal with the personal chaos or whatever behind the scenes. You know, when we went through that, none of these things were things that were easy to solve or that even felt within our control to solve. But all we knew to do was like show up every day. I can't solve that one, but I know I can work on this today. And, you know, we was one foot in front of the other, and things became a little more clear as time went on, and we kept putting in the work to solve the problems that were most urgent in front of us. With that process, we came up with like, how do we prioritize activities? How do you make sure you're focusing on the most important things, stay at the top, like our big rocks. So we still use that big rock methodology today. What are the big rocks for the week? What do I have to accomplish this week to make next week, you know, solid? But it was definitely a journey.
Where did you find the faith to believe that you would make it through all of that?
I think part of it, there's no safety net. We needed to eat, we needed to have a place to live.
Yeah.
And so with that, you're like, well, I know this is solvable. I don't fail well. My wife, Tara, very competitive. She was actually in the Canadian junior field hockey team for Canada.
Oh, wow.
High performer, also very competitive. Like, we don't fail well.
Yeah.
And so we weren't going to fail. We knew we needed to provide for our family. We had customers that we were doing good work for. So it didn't feel like it all should fall to pieces. It felt like it was controllable if we could just keep the wheels in the cart and move, one step forward. We were on the Inc. 5000 list for 6 years in a row and growing rapidly, and I had a big expanding business, but what we kind of lost control of was our risk profile.
Okay.
And so as you grow really rapidly and you're working on the next opportunity and the next investment or the next commitment, a lot of entrepreneurs grow on feel until feel fails them. And that's exactly what we went through. So our business at the time was probably 10 million or so in revenue. And I just lost the ability to keep my arms around the risk profile.
Okay.
And so as we got our arms back around that, we did start asking the question of, like, who do we want to be, and how does that, on the other side of it, what do we want to address so that we can, build a business that's great for our customers, employees, but good for us as founders.
Good for you as well. Yeah. And so you got to the other side. You focused on what mattered: resilience, humility, gratitude. How did surviving that season that you did change your definition of success?
So I think there's a much more personal element of, like, we had to survive ourselves to get to the other side. So, like, what are the things? I have a personal recipe that I know I need to employ, and it has to do with spiritual time, movement, so exercise or physical activity, and gratitude. And those are the things that I know I need to do every day or nearly every day to stay balanced and stay a good person. And so definitely bringing back into, who do I need to be as a good person to be able to do my job and provide for my family and be a good spouse and all those other things. Definitely that became much more clear as going through that kind of stormy period of, who do I need to be, to show up the right way.
As a human.
Absolutely, as a human.
As a human, not as an entrepreneur, but as a human.
Right. Because
so then you can be a good dad, and then you can be a good business owner, and then you can be a good employer.
Yep, exactly.
And
And if you, otherwise you get, think about how many times you have a short fuse with someone that you care about, and the people you care about typically get the worst version of you, or at worst see most of that worst version of you, because it's safe. They love you. You're kind of counting on that forgiveness. You can't really show that face, in a public way very consistently and stay active or successful. So, when the family's dealing with kind of the uglier side, you need to make sure you've got a way to manage that and show up well. And there's no such thing as a perfect human. So how do we just be our best selves and figure out how that can show up for the people that we want to impact?
So this kind of brings me to, like I said, big story, and you could go Google them and find out all of these things, but we're telling this story. And so talking about that human element, you have been around some extraordinarily famous people, successful people. I'm not going to name drop, but with that exposure to them, what did you learn about public success versus that private humanity that we're talking about?
Yeah, it was really interesting. So our last company, we had a product called the Chili Pad, and the Chili Pad was a temperature control system that helped people sleep better. And this is where Tara, she did some great stuff on science and research and some patents about how you can actually produce better sleep automatically for people.
Okay.
And when we're in this category, there was a lot of, it solved sleep for a lot of people that were struggling with quality of sleep. So we interacted with some pretty incredible people and got some personal relationships with people that are incredibly successful, nearly in the billionaire class, spending time at their homes and interacting with them. They're still just people. Some are great humans, some are not so great humans. But at the end of the day, they're fallible. They're just human. And so to interact with them, one of the things I did learn, and this is actually interacting with Rick Rubin, the music producer. He's known for being a music producer, and he self-proclaims that he doesn't know that much about music and that it's not his taste per se. But what what's amazing about Rick and spending time with him in his home and getting to know him on a personal level, he absolutely brings out the best in you by just creating an expectation of that you can deliver more than you know how to deliver. So I remember sitting down and talking to him about a product that we were excited about. We felt like it was finished. It was Rick Rubin ready.
Okay.
And we presented to him. He's like, oh yeah, that's great. I like this. I like this. He's like, I think this could be better. And I'm trying to explain to him technically, like, Rick, that's not possible. We can't do it because of this. This is, well, yeah, I hear you, but I think it'd be better if you can solve this. And you're like, you leave the meeting so frustrated, gratified, but at the same time, like disappointed and like it brings on that personal angst to like, how do I perform better? Sure enough, a week later, we solved that technical problem, which wasn't solvable before he created that expectation. And so it really stays in my mind of like how the peer groups around you, the influences around you, and how when you have someone in your life that's non-judgmental, that's loving and kind, but sets an expectation of the outcome that you don't think is possible, it just creates things to be possible that weren't true before.
Just pushes you to be more.
Yeah.
Pushes you to be better. That's incredible.
Yeah, it was a really neat experience.
So you are, riding this wave of great success that you have. You told me that you guys have been in the international space and the national markets, and now you're here in the local community making a difference. Tell me about that and what's next.
Yeah, it's really, been a great journey. And one of the, we've had, we've done business deals on 5 continents. We've traveled to 30 countries, 2.5 million miles around the world. We've spent a lot of time developing national and international relationships, selling every major retailer in the US. What we haven't been able to do is have a product or an approach that we felt we could bless small businesses in the same way. And we have this new management structure, operating system, and product with the software system that now we can take what we've learned in international business to deliver to small businesses. When I look at the landscape, and obviously I'm a customer and frequent shopper of lots of small businesses, and some deliver an amazing experience or product, some struggle with it. A lot of entrepreneurs are making money as an entrepreneur because they're good at one thing and they find a way to turn it into a business, but what they're best at is not building the business structures behind it and systematizing it, knowing how to hire and manage teams, all those things that you do in your business. But it's how can we create a structure around them and help them compete with their national peers, but keep the local color and the natural talent of the entrepreneur that started that business. How do we keep that forefront and take some of this operational burden off of them and let them do what they do best and spend most of their time there? Their zone of genius, as we call it, should be what they do to create a living and create the value in the market. And we're thrilled to be able to have a product and share it through Lake Norman Connect with more people about how we can help them rise above the clutter and deliver their product more efficiently and get all the tech stuff off their plate.
Off of their plate.
Yeah.
I'm excited about that myself, if we're being honest. Now, your family, your business is a family business. Tell me about that. You've got 5 Youngbloods that work here. That's
right. So we have 6 U.S. employees, 5 people in their Mooresville office are all Youngbloods. So obviously Tara and I that own the company, and then we've got my oldest son, Ty, runs in an operations role, and Anna, his wife, runs our marketing. She's a marketing manager. And then my second son, Caleb, is in a sales capacity. So that's what we do here in Mooresville to kind of connect the dots with a lot of our clients. We do a lot of fractional services as well as what we do on kind of the platform side.
And you're looking to leave a legacy, build the next generation.
That's right. When I got out of college, I worked for my uncle in California, and he was the original inventor of the waterbed.
Oh, so, my goodness.
Yeah, it was pretty crazy. So especially what we're doing with one of our other operating companies, got to work with him right out of school and got to see kind of small entrepreneurial business, healthy, profitable, fun, stressful, but we just love the environment. And part of what we learned going through our seasons of trial was, what's the environment we want to have here that we're proud of and that is more meaningful than just kind of a P&L statement.
This has really been a great time with you, Todd. Before we go, what would you say to the person who is still in the middle of that situation that seems absolutely impossible?
Yeah, I mean, my heart goes there right away, right? Because it's
Mm-hmm.
such a stressful, tough time. But one foot in front of the other,
Mm-hmm.
it's character building. It can
Mm-hmm.
be character destroying if you don't do the right things or do the
Mm-hmm.
wrong things.
Mm-hmm.
But just one foot in front of the other, count on the
Mm-hmm.
people that you know love you and that you can trust,
Mm-hmm.
and keep working on it.
Mm-hmm.
There's another side there.
Mm-hmm.
It's so easy when you're stuck in the middle to feel like your whole world is disappearing.
Mm-hmm.
But there's a community out there that wants to support you. There's another side. You just got to
Yep.
keep one foot in front of the other.
Keep
Keep
going.
going. You don't
Mm-hmm.
have to know how to solve it yet. What you
No.
have to know is what can I do today, and what can I do today that puts me in a better position for tomorrow, and do that.
And do
And
that.
then let things kind of settle themselves out.
Thank you so much for trusting us with your story and reminding us that sometimes resilience is just showing up. Like you
Yeah.
said, that's the theme of this episode, is just keep showing up. So this has been wonderful today, Todd. And I'm Trina Finch of Trina Sells Insurance. And if you're planning your next chapter, I would love to help. Please reach out to me at Trina Sells Insurance, and all of my information will follow, as well as how to connect with Todd and T2 Consulting and Jelly Beds. And be sure to look for the next episodes that tell more of Todd's story, Todd and Tara's story, find out about all of the businesses and the ways that this new product can help local business owners. Thank you for watching. Until next time, remember, what's next is possible. Bye-bye.